I moved to the city for a fresh start. I just turned 26, and after a long string of failures, a job that didn't pay enough, a town where everyone still saw me as the kid I used to be, I needed somewhere I could reinvent myself. Somewhere I could disappear into a crowd and rebuild quietly. So when I found the apartment, it felt like I had won the lottery. It wasn't glamorous. 5th floor, laminate flooring peeling at the corners, walls with faint yellow ghost of cigarette smoke. But it was mine. My name on the lease, my key in the door, my first real adult place. Plus, it was cheap and money wasn't something I could just throw around. Outside my balcony, another building stood directly across. So close it felt intentional, like the architects hadn't planned homes, just two boxes staring into each other forever. If I leaned over my railing, I could imagine reaching out and nearly touching their balconies. At night, when the city hum softened, the windows opposite lit up like tiny stages. Shadows moved behind blinds, kitchen's lights flickered, silhouettes crossed hallways. Nothing unusual, just the quiet choreography of strangers. But I was new. I didn't know anyone, and watching other people's routines somehow made me feel less alone. That's when I first noticed him. Not at first. He blended into the monotony of the building. But after a week or two, I kept catching the same figure standing in the window, directly across from mine. Always at night, always still, always facing forward, like someone listening closely to something just out of reach. At first I assumed he was zoning out, or maybe he could see the TV reflection or city lights behind me. I even waved once, awkwardly. When our eyes seemed to meet, he didn't react. But he wasn't looking past me. He was staring into my apartment. At first I tried to brush it off. New city, empty apartment, too much time alone. Paranoia comes easy in those conditions. So I started closing my curtains earlier. Not out of fear, I told myself, just for privacy. Then came the knocking. Soft, deliberate knocking. It was 2 a.m. when I heard it the first time. 3 knocks, spaced evenly, coming from inside my apartment wall. I sat up in bed, heart punching against my ribs. For a moment I thought it was someone above or below me, but the sound came again, clearer this time, and from the side wall, the one that connected to my living room. The problem was that the unit next to mine was empty. The leasing agent had made a point of telling me that no one had rented it in months. I quietly pressed my ear against the wall. Silence. Then a long, gentle scrape, like fingernails dragging slowly across plaster. I slept with the lamp on after that. The next night, it happened again. Same time, same pattern, same scrape. By the third night, I needed proof that I wasn't losing my mind. I set my phone up on a stack of books and let it record the wall. Around 3 a.m, the knocks came again. I jolted awake, heart-pounding, and replayed the footage as soon as the sun came up. Nothing unusual, until I paused at the reflection in the window behind me. Because in that reflection, across the street, standing perfectly still, with his hand lifted to his own wall, was the man from the opposite apartment, and the rhythms of his knocking matched the sound in mine. I didn't sleep at all that night. I told myself it could still be coincidence. Maybe the building shifted at the same time due to temperature changes. Maybe the camera captured something weird with timing. But part of me knew better. That evening, I made a decision that felt stupid and brave at the same time. I left the blinds open. I sat in the dark, recording again, waiting for him. At 2:57 a.m, The light in his apartment flickered on. He stood there in the window, closer now, his face pale and stretched thin, head tilted slightly like it was listening again. Then he lifted his hand. The sound echoed through my wall. I felt something hot and electric rush through me, terror so sharp it felt like clarity. I shifted my weight and across the street. He shifted too. I leaned forward, he leaned forward, like a reflection, but delayed. Half a second behind, then I blinked. He didn't. His grin widened, slow and jagged, like his face struggled to imitate the movement. I slammed the curtain shut. The next day, I woke exhausted, my eyes crusted with the sticky residue of broken sleep. I skipped breakfast, threw on a hoodie, and went straight to my building manager. "Who lives in this apartment across from mine?" I asked. My voice sounded rough, even to me. He frowned. "Across the street?" Yes." He blinked slowly, confused. "That building isn't residential." I laughed, out of shock, confusion, desperation. Honestly, I don't know. "I see people in there every night." "You can't," he said quietly. "That building burned in 2019. It's condemned. No power, no residents. It's been empty for years." I pulled up Google Maps later. Old satellite view, sure. Those sometimes lag, but the image showed exactly what he'd said. A hollowed out building with black windows and collapsed rooms. So what or who was I seeing? That night, I opened the blinds again. Just a slither. And instead of the pale man, I saw something worse. I saw me. Same hoodie, same posture, same way I lifted my hand to brush my hair back, only the eyes were wrong. Too dark, too deep, too hungry. I snapped the curtain shut so fast I nearly tore the rod out of the wall. 2 nights later, the balcony door slid open on its own. I woke to cold air spilling into my living room. The curtain over the balcony billowed inward, breathing like a living thing. My phone flashlight shook in my hand as I crossed the room. The door was open. Outside, standing on the opposite balcony, was the thing. The not me. So close, I could see details. The scar on my cheek, the slight dip in my posture, even the exact hoodie I'd worn that day. But the smile was wrong. Too wide. Too human and not human at the same time. Its head tilted further, like it was testing the range of motion. Then it lifted its hands and waved, slowly, mockingly. I slammed the door and shut and locked it twice. The glass fogged as it leaned closer, its breathing forming faint words. "Let me in." I ran. I grabbed my keys and I fled down the stairwell, the echo of each step chasing me like something just behind me. Outside, the burning building stood in complete darkness. No lights, no movement, every window shattered. My phone buzzed. A notification from my new security app. Motion detected. Living room. I didn't go back that night. When I returned the next morning for my things, sunlight didn't make the apartment feel any safer. In fact, it felt worse, like daylight exposed problems I couldn't explain away. The air was cold, unnaturally cold. The lights flickered in rhythmic pulses, almost like breathing. And when I passed the hallway mirror, my reflection lagged again. Not a full second, just enough to catch it smiling before I did. I nearly vomited. That was a week ago. I'm staying with a friend now, miles away. different suburb, different everything. But last night, lying in his spare room, I woke to a familiar rhythm. The wall beside my bed vibrated with each one. There are no neighbours on that side, and this morning, when I opened the blinds, there was a building across from the house. A building that wasn't there yesterday. 5th floor, middle window, and in it, something that looked like me is waving.